Okay, so here we are live once again with another Turtles of Grayskull Masters of the Universe Origins unboxing, and this is Splinter-Skull. This guy was a Target exclusive. I managed to get him for really cheap. Here's a funny story. I actually did pay full price for one of these. So a little bit more than a regular figure because you can see he's boxed. He's a deluxe figure. But I wanted to get a second one for custom parts, and I ran across one at Target that uh, I couldn't get to ring up on the scanner because I figured it was probably like at clearance price by then because they were clearancing out, two bops steady by that point, and both of those I'd gotten for pretty cheap. So I couldn't get it to ring up on the scanner, and I wanted to check and see if it was coming up on clearance price. So I had to take it all the way to the front and have the lady scan it at the front, and she couldn't even get it to come up. So I told her, yeah, like I was trying to check the price because I know a lot of these have been on clearance at Target stores lately, and I wanted to see if it was cheap. And she's like, "Well, how much are they usually on clearance for?" And I'm like, "Well, uh, the other figure that I rung up from this wave was $15." And she's like, "I'm gonna give it to you for 5." So I wound up getting one of these for really cheap. Hi, Aunt June. Nice to see you. And I am doing fairly well. Just my whole sleeping schedule is thrown off. So anyway, so as we can see, this is Master Splinter, and he's all puffed up with the powers of Grayskull. So if we read the back, it says here, after the turtles vanished, Master Splinter entered a deep meditation. Time and space faded away. When he heard them from far, far away, Splinter let go of all attachment to his physical form and followed their calling. It took him to the first planet in the universe, Eternia, where suddenly he appeared at Castle Grayskull as the spiritual embodiment of the power of Grayskull itself. And at first glance, you might think that this is Splinter combined with He-Man, but those of us who are knowledgeable about the Masters of the Universe mythos will recognize that that's not just He-Man. That's King Grayskull, the guy that the power of Grayskull came from in the first place, the guy that it's named after. And I guess it kind of makes sense to have the mentor of the Ninja Turtles take the form of the ancestor of He-Man. And on the back here, we got a really nice picture of Splinter-Skull with He-Man and Leonardo kneeling before him, and he's got his hand on each of their shoulders as if he's imbuing them with a little bit of extra Grayskull power. And we've got the characters surrounded by the other main characters from the Ninja Turtles, your core Ninja Turtle characters. You've got, of course, the other three turtles in Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael, and then Casey Jones and April O'Neil in their Eternian forms. Aunt June says, sorry, but I have so much on my plate. Hey, it's cool. We all got a lot on our plate. It's fine. It's nice to see you though. Anyway, there is a picture of Master Splinter over here on the side. Sorry, it's kind of reflective. I'm trying to get a good shot of it. He's doing some kind of martial arts move, and then another one over here with his version of the power sword, which it actually says Spear of Grayskull. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, obviously. But let's go ahead and open him up. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. This is one that I saw like even before I was gonna buy this line. And at first I was just like, it just seems like a lot to get into. So I don't know if I really want to. But even at that time, I saw this one. I thought, okay, he's pretty cool. I would like to have that one. Well, Aunt June says it's good to see you. Well, thank you. I guess it's always nice for me to see you and always nice for you to see me. So it's always nice for us to see each other. So, and then we do have the illustration on the side here, which shows all the illustrations and just like a simple little explanation of how it all fits together. And he does have the metal botto pieces, which I'm probably Never gonna put Metal Botto together, but let's have a look at these pieces. So we got a torso, and it's set up kind of like the way the turtles' shells are set up in this line, which we will see eventually. But uh, but yeah, he's got where you can fit the shell onto the back, and like with most of these characters, the shell is removable and can be used as a shield. But that's how it pegs on the back anyway. Well, I guess it goes the other way because the handle's bumping into his shoulders. Yeah, I guess it goes like that. But the shield's pretty cool. I can use that for other things. And then Splinter has King Grayskull's cape, which is very soft, rubbery kind of plastic. It's actually two soft, rubbery plastics glued together because the furry piece at the top is a separate piece. We're going to set that aside. And then we have the Spear of Grayskull, which is in two parts. So I'm going to try to take it out, and we can see that that does come apart. So he does have a power sword, which is its own unique design. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then just I guess we could use that as Splinter's regular cane. Now, the original Splinter action figure, those of you might remember who had it as a kid, he had a cane where you could actually pull a sword out of it. And this one is, a sword cane after a fashion too. So I guess that was a deliberate homage. And Splinter comes with an extra hand, which pleases me. And it's a little bit more of a clawed kind of rat hand. He reuses a lot of Beastman's parts, uh, but not the hands. We'll talk more about that in a minute, obviously. He does have rubber tabs that are holding him into the package, so let's go ahead and cut through those. And his costume is basically a combination of the costume that was worn by the original Splinter action figure and the King Grayskull costume. So we're gonna get into all that. And his tail got stuck in the package. Pulled his tail off. So he does have a little hole in his booty where the tail fits in there. So set Splinter aside for the nonce. And here's the card that comes on the inside of it with Splinter in kind of a lotus position, meditating. I'm guessing that's where they were talking about with him, like throwing his astral form out into the cosmos and combining with the spirit of Grayskull. And like we saw with Bebop and Rocksteady and Leatherneck, it's one of these really thick kind of postcard sized cards. There's what the back looks like with Splinter with the Sword of Power, and it says Splinter-Skull, Spiritual Sensei, Grayskull, Master of Powers, Enhanced Strength and Speed, Master of Ninjutsu, Wisest Sensei slash Talking Rat ever to exist. That is admittedly a very an oddly specific thing. Grayskull form, physical manifestation of the power of Grayskull, astral projection, and ancient knowledge of all Eternia. So basically, like everything about the spirit of Grayskull and Splinter combined together into one entity. We'll go ahead and put that back together, and we can set the box aside. So we're done with that for now. And let's go ahead and talk about Master Splinter. So he does have you can see he's got these braids, which King Grayskull typically has long hair with braids to the side, and he's even got like a little He-Man emblem kind of clasp there in the back to hold it all together. So the head pops off. There we go. And actually, it popped it out of the joint out of the torso, which that's not supposed to happen. But the armor comes off. Which is the main reason I popped all this apart. So other than the long hair, and some versions of Splinter have longer hair than others, if we take the armor off, I can pop the joint back in there. Since that's not supposed to come apart like that, but I think I can probably pop it. If it'll pop out, it'll pop back in. It's not broken, it just came apart. Hold on. Oh, that's frustrating. I might have to go get the other one and open him up. But anyway, you can see that underneath his he's got this robe which looks very much like it's molded in plastic rather than being fabric, but it looks very much like the robe, like very similar in color to what came with the original Splinter figure, only that one was soft goods. And you can see it's even got like the 3 circle emblem on there that was on the animated design for Splinter, not on the action figure, but on the animated design for Splinter, it had that on there. There we go. I got it back on. But yeah, without the armor, he does look very much like a more muscular version of that original Splinter figure, and he does have the wraps around the shin, which are very much based on the original He-Man boots. These are a reuse of the mold of the original He-Man boots from Origins, but they gave him new feet with toes on there, which honestly they should just reuse. They should have reused these on Beastman. So they've got like beast feet, and technically it's not enough toes, but it's still more toes than this guy comes with, is what I'm saying. So they should have had Beastman with toes. There's no excuse for that. And the tail has some extra articulation on it too, whereas it does peg into the back, but it also has this kind of hinge to it. So it can rotate all the way around, and we'll talk more about that with the articulation. But he's got a decently articulated tail. Anyway, let's see if I can get the head off of the neck joint the way it's supposed to come apart, because it's kind of a pain to get that back in there. So I can put the Grayskull armor back onto him. Now I was thinking maybe this was the King Grayskull armor that came with the Powers of Grayskull Origins King Grayskull figure they already put out, but I don't think it actually is, because it's got the peg holes on the back like Turtles of Grayskull usually have. So we could put a turtle shield back here if we wanted to, but obviously with the cape on, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to put the breastplate on, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about the articulation, and then we can talk about some of these other accessories. But yeah, it looks very much like the design of the King Grayskull armor from Revelation. So the black version of King Grayskull, but with the metallic straps rather than the leather straps. But I think that looks better on the kind of burgundy color of the kimono, because it gives a little more contrast with the silver. So, and yeah, I guess if you really wanted to, all the long hair attaches in the back, so you could probably remove that fairly easily. Either put it in some boiling water and soften it enough that you can pull it off, or maybe even cut it off with an X-Acto knife if you wanted to. So, and the head sculpt does look very similar, I should point out, to the original Splinter action figure. I don't think it's like exactly the same head sculpt, but it's definitely based off of that head sculpt. And if you're a fan of the Mirage comics, it's not too different from how Splinter looked in those, although I kind of feel like in the original figure and in this one, they give him a much bigger schnoz than what he had in those comics, but the eyes are very the same. The basic shape of the head is the same. It's just the snout and the nose are much larger than the original Mirage design. And like I said, he uses a lot of parts from Beastman, but not the same hands. He's got brand new hands, and not the same feet. He's got brand new feet. But the upper part of the shin, that's Beastman, and the forearm is Beastman. And I didn't bother to take the whole kimono off of him, but I think we can see that just fine. Or we can see the edges. It is the regular Beastman torso underneath. So let's talk about his articulation. Splinter can look up about that far, which is pretty good considering how he's got that longer hair. He can look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quickly from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Even though he's got this longer hair, it doesn't really interfere much with the articulation of that, but that's good. Speaking of art interfering with the articulation, though, he does have those flared shoulders on his robe, so that does kind of, when we rotate the arm all the way around, we can see it kind of bumps into that a little bit, and even got kind of stuck underneath there. His arms can move up to the side about that far, so the kimono doesn't really interfere with that too much. He's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow, bends in about that far, rotates all the way around. He's got wrist articulation that rotates all the way around and has a horizontal hinge on it that moves back and forth. These are really nicely sculpted hands, by the way. They're definitely intended to look like the hands that came with the original Splinter figure, but they are larger since he's a bit larger just in general. He's just more muscular since he's got the power of Grayskull and everything. Waist rotates all the way around. Splinter can kick up. Damn, the whole figure came apart. Oh, yeah, underneath he's got dark brown kind of trunks. They're not the standard He-Man trunks though, because they've got that hole to poke the tail into. So he can kick up about that far. Got a single joint of articulation at the knee that bends in about that far, rotates all the way around. And then he's got the boot articulation, boot cut rotates all the way around. Foot points down about that far, foot points up about that far, and then rotates all the way around. Why did they not just reuse these feet for Beastman? At least then he would have some toes. And it's like I said, it's not the correct amount of toes for Beastman to have, but it's still some toes. I don't think I'm ever gonna stop being irritated that Beastman doesn't have toes. Anyway, so pretty typical articulation that we see on Masters of the Universe, except for he does have an extra limb, which is this tail. And like I said, the tail, even though it popped out, it's not like it's just a simple straight peg on there, so it's not gonna lock in. That's unfortunate. But the tail does rotate all the way around, and it has a hinge on it that moves it back and forth like that. So you can get some good posing out of this tail, which is nice. All right, so let's go ahead and get him all gray skulled up here. So we've got the cape, the cloak of King Grayskull, and we can put that over his shoulders. And it doesn't really seem to have any kind of way that it attaches on there per se. It doesn't have pegs that hook into these holes or whatever. It's just going to kind of wrap around his shoulders. And since it's that soft, rubbery plastic, you can see it fits on there quite nicely. It's not going to fall off. And the front two braids fit nicely in between the neck and the collar. And the back braid, it's soft enough plastic that it just kind of layers over the top of his furry collar here. Now, he does have this extra hand, which I like that he has an extra hand, and it does remind me, again, a lot of how Splinter's hands are normally drawn, but I don't feel like I really need it as far as this goes. He's got two weapons, kind of, that combine into one weapon. It's a cane, so it's not really much of a, but he's a ninja. Anything in his hands is a lethal weapon, right? He could kill you with a magazine. I don't know why I all of a sudden decided to have an alien reference in there, but it is what it is. All right, so we can fit the spear into his hands. As far as the actual sword portion of it can fit into that hand, and then we can go ahead and put the cane portion of it into his left hand, and then we've got a nice two-handed grip there as far as the spear of Grayskull goes. But if we want him to dual wield with both the cane and the sword, we don't even have to take him out of his hands, do we? We can just take it apart while it's in his hands, and then he's got his cane and his sword, and that's nice. And it's not exactly the traditional design of the power sword. It's a little more angular than usual, a little pointier, a little nastier looking, slightly longer handles, slightly shorter blades, since I guess it's supposed to be a spearhead or whatever. But I kind of have this idea in my head that the power sword can take on elements of whoever's wielding it at the time, and can basically conform to fit it's bearer, I guess. Which is why, when He-Man has the sword, it's silver. When Skeletor has the sword, it's purple. And sometimes, in my mind, it can even change shape, like we've seen it do with Splinter-Skull here. However, I don't think this is literally supposed to be the power sword. I think it's just supposed to be a manifestation of the power of King Grayskull. He forms his own sword when he needs to. I guess he's gotten that powerful. The spirit of Grayskull in the modern context, and yeah, I think that's what that is in my mind anyway. And you can put it back together with the spear and have it like a staff. And this is kind of a, even though it's mostly wood, it's kind of a metallic color, like a dark bronze or whatever. So he's a really cool figure. And like I said before, I was even committed to collecting these Turtles of Grayskull figures. He was one of the ones that I saw where I'm like, he's just cool enough on his own. I might want to buy him. But like I got the Shredder immediately because I just thought that was a great Shredder figure in general, whether or not it had Masters of the Universe elements to it. It was just a great Shredder figure, period. But once I decided to commit to buying this line, Splinter-Skull was obviously one I was going to pick up. Warlook Z6 is here and says, "Hi, Alan. I'm Warlook Z6. I'm watching you from Chile. Wow, that's cool. I really like Splinter and Motu. Hello, big hello, friend. Well, hello right back at you. It's good to see you. And I think you're the first viewer that maybe not the first viewer ever from Chile, but you're the first one that's left a comment, so that's cool. So always nice, and he gives a thumbs up. So right back at you. So, so yeah, they did a really good job with this figure. Like I said, there's a lot of homage to the original Splinter figure in this, and a lot of homage to the original King Grayskull. I like the shape of the belt. I should point that out. It's a cool looking belt. It is kind of He-Man esque, but it's not 100% the original design of the He-Man belt. But if you want something that looks more like that, he's got that underneath. If you wanted him to look more Splinter like or more Grayskull like than Splinter like, I suppose you could just remove the robe entirely and just have that super buff Beastman body underneath, and then he could be in full barbarian mode. But I'm really happy with how he turned out. I think like most Ninja Turtles fans, I've always had a fondness for Master Splinter. He's always been one of my favorite characters in the line, and it's really cool how they managed to get that sort of vintage look to the character's head. I think he turned out really nicely. Anyway, I think that's it for this episode. I still have also I'd forgotten about that when I decided to go ahead and start doing these this week, but I think it's just going to work out better this way, timing anyway. I still do have the evil mutant version of He-Man to open up, so I think he's going to be the last of the Turtles of Grayskull figure that I open, at least out of this batch. I still want to get Krang and Mossman, since I can still get a hold of those and they're fairly easy to get. And I might get Ram Man too. Uh, but those will be later. Those will be later since I don't have them yet. But maybe sometime this month or next month I can have them on the show. But I really also want to get on to opening up some other stuff because we've been doing He-Man for a while. And as much as I love He-Man, like I don't want to neglect my other lines that I haven't had a chance to get to yet. I did Black History Month in February, and it's been He-Man pretty much all of March and all of April so far. I guess that's appropriate. It is appropriate that I opened up April O'Neil in April, so that's good. But April is probably the best month to open Ninja Turtle figures if you think about it, since it's even though I've been doing, it's been all Masters of the Universe. It's been mostly Turtles of Grayskull just because I've had so many of them. But I really want to get on some GI Joe because it's been far too long. So it's been over 2 months since I would open any GI Joe, and that's a long time for me to go without opening any GI Joe. And it's been at least since February since I opened any DC stuff. And you know this is a channel that loves its DC stuff. Don't get me wrong, this is the channel that Masters of the Universe Origins built, and that's always going to be one of the core lines. But it's not the only core line that I have here, because I love my DC stuff, and I love my GI Joe stuff, and I've still got more Marvel stuff to open. There's still like a lot of good Marvel stuff that I haven't gotten around to yet. But anyway, that's pretty much it for Master Splinter. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. You can hit the little bell and it will warn you anytime that I'm going live. I'm going to take the shell off of Metal Botto that I'm probably never going to get to complete. Oh, let's have a look at how the front of the shell comes off here. And he's got the Roboto gear underneath. That's pretty cool. So might as well show that off. But I'm gonna use the shield as a part of Splinter's accessories, since I'm probably never gonna finish Roboto anyway. And even if I do get to finish Metal Botto, I've got 2 of these Splinters. So that means I've got 2 of these torsos. So that means I can keep one of them as his shield. So he can just have a turtle shell shield, and that's cool. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.